What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Humble Threads podcast. I am David Graves.
And my name is Michael Hart.
And everybody, we really appreciate you for watching the last episode. We're coming back at you again with something fresh, something new right after the New Year's. And, wet your whistle again. It's not stopping. We're going full force into the new year with this new podcast. So, Mike, what's going on,
Yo,
man?
dude, just kicking it, man. Like had a phenomenal holiday. Just jumping into like my like an actual vacation week off.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying out some new things all over the place, but it's been really good. How about you, man? How you doing?
Yeah, man. I mean, I felt like it was really refreshing to be around family and people you care about. I was telling my girlfriend we went to her sister's house. A lot of her family was there. We were drinking, having a good time. We were driving home. I was like, did you like feel the abundance of love in that room? Like, I don't know. I was like, I just felt like maybe because quarantine and everything, but I felt like a lot of love in that room and a lot of caring and just like the family sense. I don't know what it was, but I felt it. It was kind of crazy. I could have also been drunk. I have no idea.
Hey, man. Like around the holidays, the merriment and the cheer and the love, it's everywhere, dude. So like, I'm not surprised you felt that with your family. I felt it too.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible to be able to get together with the people that we care about most. But hey, dude, we are looking ahead. New Year's is coming this week. By the time this podcast comes out, New Year's will be here already.
Most definitely.
But we are talking today about a little. We want to kind of dig into the vault a little bit and think about some or at least one or two favorite New Year's Eve parties.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously moving forward in the COVID world, I'm kind of questioning what it's going to be like, because usually everyone's used to having like
Yeah.
Times Square on the television and everyone
Yeah.
going nuts down there, like hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of New York City.
I
That's
didn't
not
even
going to
think
be
of
like that
that.
this year, right?
Yeah,
That's going
I
to
didn't even
be
think of that.
it's not going to be like that. So like,
Sheesh.
I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to
Wow.
conversate, talk about kind of what we've done in the past and what we've experienced, and then
Mhm.
maybe think about what it's going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. I honestly did not think about that because yeah, there is a lot of like MTV has their own thing and like then they have the ball drop on TV. Jesus, I have no idea, but
Right.
I mean for me like probably the best story for me and it's hilarious because it wasn't supposed to happen like this. I remember I was at work on New Year's Eve and I was like, I mean, we're just gonna go to our friends. We used to hang out at the soccer house a lot at Westchester University. So shout out the guys on the soccer team. Y'all are way graduated now. There's no one there. But I was going there. My one friend, his friends ditched him, so he was at work. Like, I don't have any plans. I was like, come on, we'll go over here. We went over there. They threw a party in their basement. People from all over different schools. Like, it was a great time. I hung out with a lot of my family members that are my friends. It's kind of weird. A lot of my family members are cousins that are my friends, so it's just all over the place. But we were all hanging out, drinking, having a good time. That's probably like the best memory I have for New Year's because it was just everyone was having fun. There was no fights, there was no drama. We were just in the basement of our friend's house. Everyone was in there. We're meeting new people. It was a great time. So, Mike, I
That's
don't know
awesome.
about you. What about you, man?
Honestly, when it comes to New Year's Eve, I remember all the times I was young,
Mm-hmm.
going to like kind of like adult parties with my parents and kind of being
Mm-hmm.
in like being thrown into like the kids' playroom or whatever, and just kind of waiting and seeing what all this hype was about. But honestly, the one memory that sticks out the most to me is right when I was graduating college. I graduated college, and at the time I was in a band. I was a sign musician in a progressive metalcore or hardcore band, if you want to call it that. And we, we decided that even though it was in the middle of winter at the time, obviously for New
Mm-hmm.
Year's it gets cold out. We were going
Yeah.
to do our very first tour, and this was going to be self promoted, and it was called the No Sleep Till New Year's tour. And yeah, because we realized that the way we were going to be doing it is, obviously you drive all night to the next venue, and you don't really get to sleep. And so, although the actual New Year's itself was eventually at home, with our loved ones and our family members, and going to like the casual New Year's Eve parties and stuff like that, that was more fun was just what was leading up to it. Knowing that was like our first big tour as a band. We did a big Northeast tour, went all the way up to Vermont. No, sorry, New Hampshire, and middle of an ice storm. And it was absolutely crazy. We feared for our
Jesus.
lives, but it really meant the world that we were able to do that. And that year, I believe that was 2013, was the year. or in 2013 in 2014. So that New Year's Eve was the first time that my band was able to do a self-promoted Northeastern tour. So when I think of New Year's parties, like I don't really think of like the glitz, the glamour, the champagne, anything like that. It was just like it reminds me back to like the first time my band actually saw the road, and we had a really great time.
That is hilarious. 2013 is when I graduated high school. Jesus. But, yeah, but even to your point, like I had no idea what they're gonna do this year with New Year's. That's apparently though I would imagine they'll still make it interesting for the general audience, but just thinking about that's kind of wild, to be honest.
Yeah, like I think there'll still probably be recorded live performances of like
Yeah.
bands playing, but I genuinely think that there's going to be no one in, there's not like they're not going to allow people to stand as they used to in Times Square like sardines, waiting for trying to huddle for warmth, waiting for it all to happen.
Yeah,
Like I just can't imagine it's going to happen unless they literally give every single person a bubble to sit in or something, which I don't know how that works, but like uh I have a feeling this is going to be a New Year's to remember. And hey, everybody listen to this. You already know what New Year's turned out to be because we are recording this prior to New Year's. So, just speaking to our future selves and our future listeners, like, what'd you think? Like, was it good? Is it what you expected? Or, hopefully everything is still going well.
Yeah. So happy New Year's if you're listening to this after.
Yeah, happy New Year's, everybody.
I hope it was great. I actually lied. I'm sorry. My story. I forgot that I spent New Year's in Disney. That was really fun. That was the one I probably should. We were at the parks.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. I was like, what? Because it was a long week. We were there day after Christmas and everything, but that was a fun time. Band was playing, fireworks, everything. We were tired, but it was a fun time. But speaking of 2021 and Disney, I don't know if anyone has seen it. Me and Mike were talking briefly about it, but for people who don't know, I am a huge nerd. I will probably be your nerd content person on this podcast. You got any questions, ask me. I got you. And Mike. Mike probably got you too. But Disney just rolled out their 2021 schedule and a couple years moving forward as far as their content with The Mandalorian and like Marvel Disney shows. But never in my life would the 8-year-old me think that this would become a reality for comics and superhero content. Like that's crazy. For people who don't, yeah, I was gonna say, for people who don't know, if you haven't watched it, The Mandalorian is a great series, but it's spun off to a whole bunch of other miniseries, such as the Ahsoka Tano series, The Rangers of the New Republic, and then also a Boba Fett series, which people have been asking for a Boba Fett movie for years.
But, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that, and then Marvel shows such as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and countless others, and movies that are coming out, such as Fantastic Four. But I briefly wanted to talk to you guys about that and touch base on it, because holy crap. Like, Disney, just take my money until I'm 52, because there's no way.
Well, okay. So, I mean, obviously, Disney's really trying to show up for 2021 and trying to release a lot of content. But out of all of the things that you've read about and you've looked into, what would be the number one thing that you're looking most forward to?
Man, oh man, there's on both sides. I'm just gonna give you both sides because honestly, there's a lot. If you watch Star Wars, for people out there, if you've seen Star Wars and you watched Rebels, with a lot of the stuff coming live action, the Ahsoka Tano series is going to lead into a lot of things for someone who is missing right now that she has to find. That's a little teaser for you guys, get you hooked on Star Wars. But she's looking for someone, so I think she might find him. For the Marvel side, the WandaVision show, I'm questioning, because if they actually go through with it, then in the comics, she's the one who brings in the mutants. So they might be bringing in the X-Men if they do that show correctly. So we'll see. I don't know. But those are what I'm excited for.
Dude, those sound great. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like I nerd for different things, if you will. But I can absolutely respect Disney. I can respect everything they've done. They've done well so far by the Star Wars, entity that I mean, for the most part, like I think for what they were handed and what they could do with it, I'm really happy with Mandalorian. Like I think if anything, Mandalorian, as well as any other kind of like long-term, like episodic TV show, I think it's just proving to the fact that movies are kind of outdated. Like I think it's kind of showing that there is so much more staying power and like cultural like phenomena that sprout up around these episodic sagas. Like, I mean, just look at Game of Thrones, first of all. I know that's not Disney, but like,
Whew.
but like Game of Thrones would not have been
Mhm.
at all as successful, at least in my opinion. In my
I agree.
opinion, it
I
would not have
agree.
been as if it was just like chalked up into 4 movies or something that were 3
Yeah.
hours long. Like the same reason why, you know, Lord of the Rings is amazing and the books are incredible and like the movies are incredible. But imagine the depth of the lore and everything that we could have gotten from Lord of the Rings had they chosen to gone episodic with it. And basically, like Game of Thrones became kind of what people wanted
Mhm.
out of that world, at least in my opinion. And knowing that that's kind of where a lot of shows are moving, like, and now that because Mandalorian, right? Mandalorian could have been a movie.
Could have
Like
been.
it could have been a movie.
Mhm.
We could be dealing with Mandalorian 2 now or something, but no, they decided that they're going to make an episodic show because you can dive into so much more character depth when you do that. So I'm looking really forward to that. You know, I've been catching up myself on Mandalorian.
Oh
I did
man.
find out what finally happens, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things going on in that world that I think has just kind of been waiting to come out. So
Yeah, they gave it to the right guy who if you guys don't know, Dave Filoni is pretty much like George Lucas's like illegitimate son. Like that's not his son, but George Lucas has said he knows more about Star Wars than I do, and I'm the creator. And that's saying a lot. And he's been there since day one. And personally, as he grows and he develops as a director and everything, I hope they do hand the reins over to him because he single-handedly brought Star Wars back from terrible trilogies. But what I did want to say was, do you want me to blow your mind? Because they are making a Lord of the Rings series on Amazon. So
I actually had
yeah.
no idea. That's amazing.
Yep. So there a lot of I think, and like you said, a lot of people are realizing like, hey, there's more story to tell to keep people here for years if we give them a series. Like
Yeah.
you make a Lord of the Rings series, people are going to be here for like 10 years plus, maybe, depending on if they do it
Oh
right.
yeah, they're not going away.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and I think it's a lot of staying power, and a lot of people are realizing that, such as Game of Thrones, to be a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a tutorial, but like the stencil for what's happening right now for them to keep moving.
Yes.
But everyone, fortunately we got our first ad break, so we will be right back after this talking about some more stuff. We will be talking about the gaming disappointments of 2020. I know a lot of people have you out there, or a lot of people are out there that are very upset with some games. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. David, this is where we break. David, we're breaking right here.
Yo, David, this is the break. You should break.
All right, so we can give ourselves a couple minutes. All right, so we got.
All right, I'll bring us in.
All right, cool. All right, I'll count us in again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back, everybody. What's going on? As we mentioned before the ad break, we want to talk about some gaming disappointments of 2020 because, hey, you know, there was a lot of things riding this year in terms of like games that everyone was looking forward to, you know, and almost across the board, no matter what came out, there have been some absolute just disappointments and things that people are even to the point where companies are offering full refunds to games. Like there is just a nightmare of things going on in the game world. And to be honest, everybody, it's in COVID 2020 world. I get it. Developers want their money. They want to be able to pay their employees. It's a give and take. But at the same time, don't release a game that's broken. Come on, like don't like pay some attention to the content that you're trying to make people spend almost $70 to $100 on, depending on if they bought the special edition packages. Like there are some crazy things going on that I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us were talking about it in our we were talking about it in our group chat that we have, but like the amount of money I've spent this year on games I thought were going to be amazing is ridiculous. Like the Marvel Avengers game, I was like, you know what? Let me buy the limited edition one. I get extra pieces and everything else like that as far as gear. It was like $90, so I was like, cool. It came out on my birthday, so I could play it a day before my birthday with the beta, but terrible. The resolution was, everything was struggling. Like I couldn't even stream it. I bought it early so I could stream it to be like, oh man, this is how I'm gonna blow up. Like this, I'm gonna get to play it early, and everyone's gonna watch me play it early, and like I'm gonna have like 20 people watching me. Which I had a lot of people watch me, but at the same time there were so many issues with the game. Even after launch, there were so many issues with the game, and like I put it down. Like it's better now, But that probably was the biggest like comic book disappointment because it was riding on the coattails of Spider-Man PS5. So everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna be just like that. It's gonna be amazing," and it ties into this. And nope, terrible.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, man. Like I can relate to some degree. So like I am a huge believer that you have to allow a game to kind of breathe a little bit when it first drops, and like because most games these days, because unlike the days of the past where like you would actually buy a game, like a legitimate game, whether it was a disc or a cartridge, and that game was done. Like there wasn't going to be a patch for the game. Like that game
Nope.
was done. Like that, gone are those days, right? Those days are
Yeah.
not coming back. These days we get delivered like essentially like alphas of the games that are still technically in the beta, alpha testing zones, but they deem it good enough for the public to purchase. And thus there's new patches that come out. Oh, this is version 2.5 or or anything like that. So
Yep.
I've been like, at least I've had my heart crushed a few times in the past with this kind of thing. And so nowadays I try to let a game breathe for a little while.
Yeah.
I did that specifically with a game that I'm absolutely, to the bottom of my heart, is so passionate about, called Destiny 2. They came out with a game called Beyond Light this year, and it's, don't get me wrong, it's good, but there's a lot of things about it that when they first opened the game up, they just didn't do right, and it caused a lot of server delay. It caused a lot of like types of things you can do in the game to be delayed. And it caused a lot of uproar, and people were really upset that they waited all this time, spent all this money on a game, and it just wasn't ready. And I know David probably can talk miles on the other big title of the year. I'll let him take that one away. But yeah, Destiny 2.
Man.
I mean, it fixed itself. Like, don't get me wrong, the holiday experience playing that game is great. You gotta bake a lot of cookies and then send them out to NPCs to earn experience points. Then you gotta do all the normal stuff you do in that game. But I personally believe that Destiny redeemed itself, but I think it definitely dropped the ball when it first released.
Yeah, I mean, even right now, guys. Not to even get us off topic, but we're probably gonna be on this topic for a little bit, just so we can give you guys more content. I know we're going through pretty quickly, but yeah, this is a big thing in 2020, especially for the simple fact that everyone's home for COVID, and everyone's like, you know what, I'm getting this new game, I'm playing it with my friends, and like just seeing like not even get to the number one that's an issue right now that even the news is talking about it, but Call of Duty Cold War. Good God, I've never like, and I've been talking to my friend CJ about it, but he kind of defends it a little bit. But I'm like, dude, I don't ever remember a COD being this unfinished at all. And I used to get every Call of Duty, but the voice chat isn't working. We can't join parties. We're getting disconnected 24/7. Like the characters are invisible. They're not even. I'm like, what? Who set the green light on this to come out? Like, what developer said, or like the president of the company said, "Oh, it's good. Give it to him." Like, what? Like this. And especially Call of Duty being such a big game, you should know that the servers are going to be crazy first day. And I don't know why developers haven't realized that. I don't know if that's something they can't really predict. But there's going to be upwards of like half the world on your game, if not the whole world, because you are a AAA title, and that's something that everyone loves. But that was terrible. Like even Warzone's having its issues right now that the new ones come out. But Modern Warfare, the one that just came out, I still think that was like probably the best Call of Duty game going back to their roots. But coming in with Cold War, good God, like it's even hard to stream. I know like a lot of people are having issues streaming it because of the like the graphics and everything are dropping, frame rates are dropping. Either too much is going on, and I just don't understand how they came out with that game. That was a big heartbreak for me. So
No doubt.
Jesus.
So before we dive into like the big one that we'll obviously spend a little more time on, just want to give some honorable mentions to some games that actually like knocked it out of the park this year.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just gonna chime off a few, and then I'll let David kind of give his 2 cents on them. But a couple that come to mind that really like on it, like whether you played them or not, like you definitely heard about them. Whether it was Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, when that came out almost right when lockdown happened, and provided an opportunity for everybody who was staying indoors to really kind of engage in a more intimate environment, going to each other's little islands, things like that. Second up, I want to bring to the conversation Among Us. Among Us has actually been out for a little while, longer than this year, but didn't really kind of hit anything big until it kind of hit viral in like the streaming communities, and just it became this new thing, right? It kind of like, Fortnite's always been around, but when Among Us happened, like that's like I started seeing like kids dressed up as Among Us characters around Halloween, which was so everyone started saying, "Yo, this is sus." You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's just been a whole new like terminologies that have been brought in by that game. Third up, I want to make an honorable mention to Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia, if you haven't played it, holy cow, it's the closest
Man.
thing to actually going after some real live ghosts if you want to become a ghost hunter yourself.
Mhm.
It was designed by one developer. I believe he used the Unity engine,
Mhm.
and it's just an absolute immersive experience. I haven't been brave enough to try the VR version of it, but it's honestly a really really great game. And then the last stuff I just want to bring to the table, my personal favorite, which is Dead by Daylight. Daylight, if you don't know, it's a cat and mouse type game where you have to complete tasks to escape a killer who's trying to kill you. You can either play as a survivor or you can play as a killer. But the game's been out for about 5 years now, and honestly, like at least from what I've noticed, it really didn't start having its like big renaissance until this year,
Yep.
because like it really started, like the devs started recognizing that a lot more people were playing it, and they've added so much content to it over the year. They've had so many new characters, new patches, really attentive to trying to fix broken things. But as far as games that have been going well this year, I'd kind of fit those guys in the uh,
Mhm.
same kind of bucket. But
Most definitely.
now, well, first of all, I want to see what Dave has to say.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, do you really want me to dig in this game's behind? Really, all right. But yeah, I will say this year has been the year of the either indie developer or the third party developer or just people who've created games. Just as Mike said, a lot of the games that he said, I completely agree with. Among Us is definitely Among Us. Just that whole wave was hilarious. Even playing that game's fun. In fact, I love Ghost Hunter shows. So if anyone knows me, you know that. Like I'll play it even when it's not Halloween. So like that, I loved Faz because it just gives you that unpredictable type, feeling that's going on. A lot of games that I've been playing that I will have to give an honorable mention to are definitely Pummel Party is fun. As much as we haven't really got to play it, if anyone knows about that game, it's pretty much Mario Party for the PC. It's a little more PG-13 because you can like blow people up or whatever, but you're just moving around the board and you're trying to find pieces. So like that seems like a fun game that's gonna definitely blow up eventually because a lot of people are going towards party games and Jackbox. I mean, Jackbox has always been a big game for everyone because you can either play it on the couch, you can play it through Discord, you can play it anywhere because there's codes and you use your phone. So I really think they're gonna take that and continue to run with it. And they have not like spoofs of games, but games kind of like Among Us in there, and trivia games, and like just wacky all over the place games. And we played them. Mike was there; he played them with us, and it's a fun time. My third game, man, I really want to give it to. Is it Sign of Silence? I think it's Sign of Silence. Around Halloween, no, yeah, Sign of Silence. That's what it's called. Because around Halloween we were playing that. It was me, Jamie, and Billy. Kind of like a four-person. You walk through, you try and find different pieces, and then you bring them back to a car. You just get like immersed in this world, and you're trying to contend against this monster who can't. I think she can't see, and that's the biggest thing. But she can hear you, so if you step on glass or something, she pops out of the ground. If you try and run, she's gonna catch you. It doesn't matter. But I feel like that game makes you feel immersed in some type of like scary movie type way and puts you in a world where you kind of feel scared and alone, but you have your friends with you. So it kind of there's a lot of problem solving and running around and a lot of different things to see. So a lot of jump scares. I will definitely say those three games for me
Yeah.
are the best for this year.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. For every reason that you just given, like, there's something really powerful about this year with like community gaming,
Yeah.
or like just party gaming, or playing with more than one, like co-op gaming in general,
Mm.
because of how much we've all been isolated. There's just this, you know, inherent yearning for us to come together and do something, and so
Hmm.
I feel like this year has been an absolute, not only a killer year for indie devs, but a killer year for co-op or party style gaming, because everything's moving into that virtual realm. Um, you
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
but in some cases, sometimes the virtual world doesn't always provide the best case scenario for a game to be released early.
Yeah.
And now it wasn't necessarily. To be fair, it wasn't released early. It was released late. It was pushed back quite a bit. But the game we're talking about, everybody, is Cyberpunk.
Man.
Whether you've played it or you've heard about it or you've seen it on the news, the game was designed to be kind of like an open world game set in 2077 in a futuristic world where humans are merging with electronics and all sorts of crazy stuff is happening, and you have to kind of make your way through the world and it's a a game of service. So you take quests, you take bounties, and you got to get things done. But there's just certain aspects of the game that I still question, and as like, why was this ever a thing? Like, why did that need to be there? And second of all, it's just the level of glitches that have been going down in this game are insane. So much so that I do believe it's PlayStation Store has offered a full refund to anyone who would rather wait for a more completed game to come out. But I didn't personally play the game. I kind of felt the vibes of something was going to be wrong here, and decided not to get it myself. But I know, David, you got it. So talk to me about your experience into the game,
man.
And let's see what you have to say.
Let me be the Stephen A. Smith of video games right now. It's hard to begin at certain games like this. Like, just I'll try and find a starting point. This is the starting point I'll start at. I don't know if a lot of people remember the game Brink. I don't know how old you are, or if you remember that game where they hyped it up so much with their like CGI trailer, like running around. Parkouring was such a big thing back then, and like guns and all that. And we kind of got the same bamboozle with Cyberpunk. They showed like this kind of, it was like real engine, but also like CGI trailer where you're playing as a character, your friend dies in the trailer, something else happens, blah blah blah. They're just throwing stuff out there. It's like, oh, you're like a gang member in 2077. You're doing all this, and pardon my, maybe we'll bleep this out. I don't know, but pardon my language. Like, you get to customize your penis. I was like, what? What? All right, whatever. Just throw that in there, I guess. But we get it on launch day. I even rushed home from work to play it because I'm like, I'm gonna go play it. Everyone's streaming it tonight. I was like, I'm gonna go stream it. We get it. It doesn't open up right away. We open it up. The graphics are struggling. And I have a pretty good graphics card. A lot of us do, but the frames are dropping. Everything's dropping. The missions are getting glitched. Everything's just messing up. Originally, they pushed it back. Did they push it back 3 times or 2 times? I can't remember, but either 3 times or 2 times, and I really feel like they should have pushed it back another year. Like,
oh yeah,
the customization felt like it was lacking even more, even though I feel like they poured on that heavy, like, it's customizable, your character's so customizable, you can do all this, like, blah blah blah. But even when I opened up customization, I was like, man, when I started playing, I was like, I see where this is going. And I was like, they got me again for the 60. They got me again. But that, like, just, and like, trying to stream it is a hassle, and that's the kind of a number one thing for me is, if I play this game, can I stream it? Because I want people to come in and hang out with me playing the game. But you couldn't even do that. It was frying everything. Like, immediately, my computer's RGB, so it lights up certain colors, like greens when it's cold and dark purples when it's hot. So my PC immediately went to dark purple opening this game. Damn. So I was like, how? Like, and I have pretty state of the art stuff. So I was like, what? Where did you guys stress test this? And also, like you said, on the PS4 or the PlayStation 4 side and the Xbox side, they can't even play it.
Yeah, entirely unplayable on console.
Yeah, so why, like, who, and once again, it brings me back to the question of who said put it out. And right. I understand that consumers, and a lot of it's our fault for rushing devs and begging devs for games, but you should also just win. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about that type of stuff, but...
Dude, absolutely. Like, from what I've seen of it, like, I've been able to watch like YouTube clips of it and things like that, and like there are some things about it that's like, you know what, this looks promising. Like, I can see this being a game that maybe I would want to sink, maybe 100 hours into playing or something like that. Like, it kind of is like a cyberpunky Fallout or Skyrim in a way, in terms of like you're in an open world and you're doing things, and there's like perk progressions, there's perk trees, you're adding skills to a character. It's an open world RPG in a way, but like there's just so many things about it, like whether it's customizing your genitals or whatever you're doing or the glitches that happen. It's just like, why? Well, what's the point? And it's like, why would you spend extra time making that even a feature when you could have spent extra time making the game better? And it's like, look, I'm not a game developer. I don't claim to know how difficult
Yeah.
or easy it is to make these games, but you know your game's broken. Like you know it. Like you know your game's broken. It's not like they
Yeah.
released it being like it seems good to us. We can play it. It's like they so but again, that's why I said, like, it comes down to a lot of things, because the community was pressuring them hardcore. The companies themselves, it's come out that that they were over pressuring their devs to get jobs done faster. The whole thing was just a miss. They probably, I don't know how much money they paid Keanu Reeves to be in the damn game.
Probably a
But
lot.
yeah, probably a lot, and they probably had a lot riding on all of that. I would love to know how Keanu Reeves feels about the release of the game, and what he thinks of it, because like he put his name on something that had so much hype.
They probably paid him so much he don't even care, to be
Maybe
honest.
not. Maybe he's content with whether it flops or succeeds. What I can say is I think we are going to see a renaissance on this game. I think that now they know what's happened to the game, what it could be, what it needs to be for it to be successful. I think we're going to see a completely reworking of the game.
I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think that they would scrap the game. I think they're gonna. Hopefully, I think within the next 3 to 6 months, we're gonna see a complete repatch of the game for optimization, because I can't imagine they're gonna just suddenly be like, yeah, it's never gonna come to console. It's only a PC game.
Well,
Like
even
that,
to
it's
like
like
to
shooting
your
yourself
point,
in the
though.
foot.
Yeah, to your point before, like thinking about when we got disc games. You got a disc game.
Yeah.
The multiplayer is already on the disc game. We don't have to worry about any updates or any whatever, or oh, it's coming later. Cyberpunk was supposed to have online, and now they're saying it's not going to come out for another year. So
Yeah.
I'm like, why even mention it?
Right.
Like, why even promise that then? Because first of all, your game is struggling right now, and you're completely right. I do agree that maybe there will be a resurgence. I don't think it'll be like Anthem, where they completely gave up on that game because they
No.
couldn't fix it. But now sitting there when they're like, yeah, online will be out in like a year. Nah, man, online will probably be out in like 3 years, because there's so much more that they have to fix, and it's not like they tried to make it like you said, a futuristic like Skyrim or GTA kind of, but there's so many components in there. Even somebody on TikTok did a side by side of what they showed in the demos for like E3 and everything, and what it looks like now. So like the streets where it had like just a bunch of people in it walking around, you could bump into people, whatever. And then they showed the gameplay now. There's only like 5 people on the streets. You can't really like it's just kind of crazy that like there's so many promises and everything else like that in the gaming world we have right now. And just thinking about back to the day when Halo 3 came out, and what they showed you was what you got. Like there was nothing going crazy
Yeah.
into it, or
Right.
future updates where they had to continuously promise you things to keep you in the loop. It's like having a girlfriend that continuously cheats on you, but keeps promising you that, oh, I'm going to do this, I got you, but continues to, still dwindle into other areas. I'm like, what? It keeps
Damn.
taking my money,
Damn. Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So, I mean, obviously, there's been some things this year that have disappointed us. Some things, some things to be appreciative of, but
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
there were some big things that disappointed us. But what's more important now, moving into the new year, let's talk about some of the goals that we're looking forward to do. Let's talk about kind of where we see the year, and let's try our best to try to avoid, obviously, because COVID's not over, right?
No.
They're only just starting to bring out vaccines now,
Yeah.
and we don't really know what the future will even look like. We've had a year without sports. Really, we've had a year without live concerts, a year without, like, it's starting to sound like it's like a Hollywood movie, like the year without literally anything fun, and mostly disappointing video games.
Oh,
So
man.
like,
Oh,
but
man.
but looking ahead, I don't know about you, Graves, but like for me, I'm really excited to see what me and my wife can do. I'm really excited to see, because both of us are, we do a lot of content creation, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, this podcast, or really anywhere. She does her own YouTube thing. and together we are just really hustling because we find that we are most passionate when we are pursuing the things that we
Mhm.
creatively enjoy the most. And if we could find a way to create that into something bigger, then that's what we want to do. And we look forward to this New Year's Eve. We're gonna get together, and we do this every year. We get a like a whiteboard, and we just write down a bunch of goals and dreams for the year, and then but before we do that, we review what we did last year, and then
Mhm.
celebrate things that we succeeded at, and talk about things we didn't, and kind of reflect. But overall, I'm looking this year coming in. I want to take where I'm at currently with my content creation and just kind of go next level with it. Grant Cardone would say you got to 10x your life, and I'm going to take my goals and multiply them by a factor of 10 because there's some things I want to do. I just turned 30, and I want to make the next 10 years of my life the
Mhm.
most impressive that I've ever had. And I had a pretty good run in my 20s. So I'm trying to see what my 30s have in store for me. How about you,
Yeah.
Graves?
I mean, honestly, we kind of talked about this the other night when we were hanging out. If you guys didn't really know it, and this is why Mike's on here and why we have this podcast, I really, really appreciate Mike because when you find people in your life that have the same ambition and drive as you do, it's literally like you're a wolf pack on the hunt. Like you're no one's stopping. We're running full speed to try and chase down whatever we need to get. So for me, like watching Mike do what he has to do, our friend Kevin, shout out Kev, watching him hustle too and doing graphics and overlays or whatever, it makes me push even further. And one thing I do want to say, shout out, I want to take it all the way back to my high school that kind of put me on this path was our hip hop dance club after school, which was just us hanging out with one of our teachers and dancing. I used to dance a lot. He always said a lot of people appreciate people like us who are content creators because it makes them happy. And making people happy and thinking about you're brightening someone's day and you're making someone happier keeps me going. So as far as the new year, I've been saying that I kind of want to get organized. I feel like I'm at my most creative when I'm organized. Like I want to get my clothing website back up and running. I just organized my Twitch, my YouTube channels organized. I just want to get better at what I can do for content creation because just like you, I have to create. I can't sit still if I'm not editing, if I'm not creating an overlay, if I'm not doing something for myself or someone else. I feel like I'm not using my abilities to their fullest extent. I feel like I should be, doing what I have to do and keep moving forward. And like you said before, this time next year, I kind of want to see myself where I can say, I can not worry about having work today, or I can not worry about having PTO and taking off and whatever. I cannot be stressing about my bills and having a good time and making sure that I can build a community where people feel safe and they can do what they got to do and grow and continue growing with you guys because I can't even just like I said, I can't describe the feeling of being around a lot of creative people. You feel like anything can happen. Like, it feels like tomorrow we could be, and I've said it yesterday, tomorrow we could be moving out to Cali and getting a mansion because you never know. There's too
Yeah.
much going on. Like you have your stuff, we have the podcast, I have my clothes, like everyone's streaming. It just feels like once we mesh all that together and the threads start to, intertwine, I feel like something's gonna happen. It's gonna blow up, and we're just gonna go to a whole different extent. It's gonna happen fast, and I can tell. So,
Oh, dude, I've no doubt. I mean, one thing that's like so important about all of that is that like when you actually look back, you're at yourself over the last 10 years,
mm-hmm.
and you think about where you were 10 years ago, and like even where you were 5 years ago, and to where you are
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
we are all in such different spaces, whether it's mentally, physically,
mm-hmm.
career wise, interest wise, and knowing and just looking back at the last 10 years of your life, no matter what you've done, there are so many moments in there that you can pick out of successes, whether it was getting that job, getting that promotion, discovering that you had a talent, discovering that you had a creative outlet, meeting the love of your life, getting married, or any of the big milestones in life
Mm-hmm.
that happen. For me, I think of all of those things as stepping stones because all of those things currently make me who I am today. But I
Mm-hmm.
recognize that if I want to become something even bigger, then I need to then start thinking of myself as someone who would be able to succeed at those things. And
Yep.
obviously, I haven't done a lot of the things that I want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to quit my day job and just be a full time content creator currently because
Mm-hmm.
my current self, based on every choice and action I've ever made has brought me to this realization that that's what I want.
Yep.
And now to be able to take that quantum step, to get from here and move our way up a little to a higher level, you have to begin to see yourself in those roles previously.
Yep.
And some people call that the law of attraction. Some people kind of just call that, thinking into existence, but the power of positive thought. But honestly, there are so many things that I've now experienced in my life at this age that I never thought possible until it happened.
Yeah.
And now knowing that those things can happen and those things can be possible, looking ahead, just envisioning myself as working full time, envisioning myself as a content creator, that is, envisioning myself actually building like a content collective with my friends, doing being able to create a prosperous, abundant environment where everyone who wants to create and wants to produce something big can have a piece of it. And so like it's incredible, looking ahead. I think New Year's resolutions can sometimes look like a shopping list, like a grocery list.
Yeah.
Like some people be like, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to get a girlfriend, or I want to get a promotion, or I want to do this, right? But none of that really, to my mind, it really has substance, because it's like, sure, that's what you want, but what are you going to do once you have it? What's next?
Yeah.
And so like when you see past that, it's like, I want to get in shape because I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I want to get into a relationship because I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to buy this house because I want to provide a space for a future family. Like once you start adding purpose to the things that you want, the things that you want stop being the goal, and they just start becoming part of the process to get to the reality that you want.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in thinking as ambitiously as possible, and letting yourself dream.
Yeah, especially for me with all that, it means a lot to me, because even as a kid, like since my mom and dad weren't together, but my dad, even though he was doing what he was doing, there's a lot of wise words that he has for me, and it was always, David, what do you want to do? And I've always never, I at first I wanted to be a game developer, but I said I want to be a game developer, and then he would always ask me, okay, and then what? And not a lot of people ask kids like, and then what? Because you kind of just think about this one thing, and that's always taught me like, all right, if I want to do this, then I got to do this. Like originally, I was like, all right, I'm starting my clothing line. I started the clothing line. Now what? All right, now outside of the clothing line, I'm going to stream. All right, you're streaming. Now what? Outside of that, let's do a podcast, because people say they like hearing me talk, and I'm a good talker. All right, so we're doing that. And now what? All right, now I kind of want to branch out and maybe pull other people into this collective of, if we're moving, we're moving. So even if like, let's say one day Mike's feeling down, he's like, man, I don't know if you feel like streaming. I'm gonna be there like, oh, now we're streaming. Today's the day. Or like, same thing with the podcast. Like whatever happens, and that was always, and that kind of brings back to my reference about the wolf pack, the famous quote I live by, which who knows, I might get it tattooed on me. The wolf is only as strong as the pack, and the pack is only as strong as the wolf. And that means, as far as you're strong by yourself, but you might be a little stronger with other people around you with the same ideals and everything. Which doesn't mean that you need people, but having people around you with the same ideals and the same creative drive really will push you to that next level.
It changes the game.
Yep, and even more with that, like it's something that Mike has told me that he'll probably describe to you guys a little more. Something that I've done recently is, and even if not something if it's bothering me, but for goals that I want to do, I will get a book and I will write it down. So like, right now I've been writing down like, I want to be a content creator. I want to supply content. So like I write down content creator a couple times, and I move on with my day. But I try and do that at night to keep myself going and try and put it out in the universe, because once it's out in the universe, something's got to come hit you.
Absolutely. There's so much power in declaring things for yourself, even if you don't have it yet, right? Like instead of saying I want to be a content creator, or maybe even saying someday I will be a content creator, I usually like to stop people in their tracks as soon as I hear that, because I'll be real with you, man. Someday doesn't exist. We have 7 days of the week. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Someday is not one of them. So it's like, if you want to become something, declare it now, and then do what it takes to actually show yourself it. Like if you want to be a content creator, then declare yourself in your notes, I am a content creator, and this is what I create. and then go forward and create that content. Because
Mm.
when what you do matches what you say and what you think, then you are that in which you declare for yourself. Does not matter who knows it. It doesn't matter who's paying you to do it.
Yeah.
If you're creating content, you are a content creator. Um,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
yeah, I mean it's
you
that
pretty.
simple.
Yeah, I was gonna say you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I know. A lot of the time when I was in school, and I know a lot of people who might be listening to us are either still in school or you guys are pushing through it. Keep going. It took me 7 years to graduate, and it was a whole mess. And even in school, like I never felt like I was a designer. I never felt like I was an artist. It wasn't something that I always thought like I needed to feel that. Like I need to feel that I'm an artist, and I never felt like it until my last year. And I was like, you know what? Like, well, somehow I'm still getting by, and a lot of people like my stuff, and like I know I'm good at what I can do, and I said I need to stop telling myself that I'm not an artist, and I need to tell myself I am an artist, and that always kind of gave me the confidence to keep moving forward. Just like Mike said, saying that you are something. Like I've always said, I am a graphic designer now. Like I've always been one. I never knew it, but I am a graphic designer. So,
Absolutely. You know,
whew,
uh, we would love to hear from some of you. We have a Gmail that you can hit us up at. It's humblethreadspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to just feel free to send us feedback. Feel free to send us questions and or topics of something that maybe you think that you would love to hear us touch on. Maybe it's about how we feel towards a certain game or a
yep,
TV show or comic book or life in general. That's just that you would love for us to dive into. We would happily review those, and we can give you a shout out on the podcast as well when we're reviewing
yep.
those questions. Again, that's humblethreadspodcast@gmail.com.
And also, if you
Uh,
don't want us to say your name, please say that in the beginning of your note, because I know some people might be private, but we'll respect your wishes either way. Just to let you know, don't put it at the end, because we'll be done
uh-huh,
reading it and your name, and then say, "Oh, we probably should." So just a quick note for you
100%.
guys.
We New Year's is just around the corner for us, but for you, it's already here.
Yep.
It's a time when we get a chance to spend with our loved ones and look forward ahead and celebrate what has been. This has been quite a buck wild, if you will, a year,
Yeah.
something that was completely unprecedented, and we've all been getting through it. Fortunately, though, we've had some things go well. We've had some strong TV shows such as The Mandalorian come out. We've discovered whole new things that Disney are bringing to the table um,
Yep.
as well, and so just lots of things to look forward to there.
Hmm.
Um,
Also, a lot of bad things came out of 2020, but a lot of good things also. So, as much as the bad things are lingering, please try and keep those good things in the back of your head to keep moving forward. So,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much gonna do it for us today.
yeah,
As always, you can find me on most social media platforms at KingpinCaribou, and that's inclusive of Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all over the place.
and for me, you can also find me mostly on everything with this name, which I'm thinking about changing my name and a lot of stuff to make it match all of it. But as far as Twitch, it's Kinggravesgaming, same as YouTube, same as TikTok. If you would like to follow my personal Instagram, it is king underscore